Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to Navtastic, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Lisa Fernandes, and
I'm Chris Jayawardena. Hello.
And we're going to review Upstairs, Downstairs, which is season 5 of Laverne Shirley, directed by Joel Zwick and written by Al Eidikman. We're going to have some facts about them later on in the program. And here's what the episode is about. The girls finally receive the revealing mail-order lingerie they've ordered from Pierre Pewaukee and, in Shirley's case, a figure enhancer. But news bigger than Shirley's Hubba Hubba Heine arrives in that day's mail from the phone company, which refunds them $50 for a transatlantic call that they never made. The girls realize it's an error, and while Laverne wants to keep the money, Shirley wants to return it. Each believing they're correct, they try to convince the other of the right moral thing to be done and fight about it. They go to bed mad. Shirley dreams of heaven, which Laverne is only admitted to because she turned the money in, and Laverne dreams of going to hell, to which she has doomed Shirley because of her stubbornness. Which deed will the girls commit? What do you think of this episode?
Cool. Very cool. This was a good episode. I remember when we first got this podcast started, you used the image of the girls in the devil suits for one of the pictures on our social media. And I kept thinking, like, oh, this is a promo shot. That nothing like that actually happens in the show, right? Oh, how wrong I was.
Yes, you were. I love how absolutely ridiculous this episode is, though I do not subscribe to a theology and an afterlife that would not admit Lenny and Squiggy to it. I'll say that flat out. Yeah. No reason why they wouldn't go to heaven. Well, Lenny less than Squiggy, but more than Squiggy.
But even then, I mean, think of all the times that, Squiggy's done the right thing. He's redeemed himself for the whole cat thing. And probably some of the stealing things and the kicking Lenny out into the gutter while he goes and has maybe possibly Vodio Dodo and other things. And that song that has questionable lyrics, but he's fine. He's fine now. Everything's fine.
Yes. He has probably slept with another broad night after night. Anyway. But it's interesting to me that in Shirley's imagination, Laverne gets really upset about it, and she's like, we'll just put in some good words for them. In Laverne's imagination, she's happy to see the boys, even though they're the devil's favorite sons, and have consigned them to roasting marshmallows forever for the devil's picnic.
Absolutely adore that bit. Just the comical, absurdity of the gigantic mushrooms that do not look in any way appetizing.
Yeah.
Is what do you think that? Do you figure that was made out of like cotton?
Yep.
Just just thick bundles.
Foam. Craft foam.
That's right. That's right.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Michael in particular is making gentle love to the scenery in this episode. He is so far over the top and relishing every single second of doing it, and it is a delight.
Yeah.
He's just living every single second of getting to play this over-the-top devil figure.
There is a delight and a as you're saying, like kind of like this unhinged, a lack of restraint, a complete unchaining of the scenery, the scenery chewing on display. This is basically telling the starving person, here's the buffet, have fun.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it almost had like a bit of a Ken Russell-y vibe that way to me.
Yeah.
Like that absurd, because Ken Russell has that wonderful sense of humor, when it just decides like, hey, we're going to do a film about, Liszt and, just suddenly there's Ringo Starr at a party.
Yeah, no reason. For no reason, there's Roger Daltrey. For no reason, things happen and we're not sure why. Who cares? We're on acid. It's a freaking movie.
Mm-hmm. God.
Oh, God, listen, Manny, I haven't thought of that forever.
And I'm still just amazed that's a guy who converted to Catholicism after making The Devils. But, yeah.
I thought thought I did it after all. Okay, that's fascinating to me. That's fascinating.
Yeah, it was like,
okay.
Like 3 or 4. It was like 74 is when he converted to Catholicism, and the movie came out in 71, I think. It's another one of the great movies of 1971,
oh man,
which is interesting bringing that up as well, because similarly to not similar to The Devils, which is, absolutely horrifying, harrowing experience, despite it also being terribly fun. This episode though has that wonderful, like, it sort of embraces the fact that, like, nobody knows exactly what heaven and hell looks like, if and or it exists, and etc. And so this sort of gleeful is the word I would use, like fictionalization. It gives it this wonderful impression, and especially as you're saying, like the comparison between the two girls and their psychology of, like, the vision of heaven for Shirley, and Laverne's ideal of not ideal, I guess, but her vision of hell, the nightmare of it. It's very cool, and surprisingly colorful, I felt.
Yes,
despite the
yes, it is. Even though sorry.
Even though it's monochromatic, it's very there are these splashes of color.
Yes. Little bits of black and blue in the hell scenes, and in heaven you get lots of little. Actually, the boys are the most colorful thing in heaven when they try to get in.
That and the village people.
Yes, that and the village people. Yes, I love that in Shirley's conception of heaven, Laverne's idea of the ultimate paradise is getting gangbanged by the village people, basically.
And that was our explicit rating, but it's a heaven and hell episode. It deserves it.
Yeah, it's a heaven and hell rating, and this is an episode that opens with the girls buying lingerie. They get a big package of lingerie, and Laverne gets a freaking negligee with red handprints over the boobs.
Yeah, the Manos teddy is what my brain thought.
The Manos nightgown. Oh no, God!
I mean, I even mentioned. I referenced the scanty panties to my friend Vanessa, and she got a serious giggle out of that.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And of course, I can't believe that they actually had Shirley buy plastic ass falsies, as a certain associate of ours on Twitter would put it. Plastic ass falsies. She wears them to bed. Why did she wear them to bed?
It's like, what do you think? Like your fat's gonna settle in your butt. It's gonna move from your hips to to your waist, from your waist to your butt. Like,
I know. We will learn later in this season that Shirley does the "I must increase my bust" dance when she's alone.
God. Oh my god. Oh my god.
This is a theme. This is a theme. We'll look at later in the season. During an incredibly sad and tragic episode, we learned this. So,
well, they had to.
That's a tone shift.
They had to fill it in somewhere, and I guess that the sad, tragic episode was the lubricant that did the job.
God.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but fittingly with all this madness on display, we're talking about our initial thoughts. We have to mention, we'll get into detail. Dick Shawn as the gatekeeper in both realities is he is wonderful, perfectly cast as this. He is once more unleashed. His coo as the angel and his sneering devil. I mean, it's delicious.
Yes, he's having so much fun. Go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry.
It's like really good. It's like having your angel food cake followed by like the richest, dirtiest devil's food cake you can imagine. Just
yes, indeed.
It's that's what it is. It's a decadent performance. It's not just delicious. It's decadent.
It really is. It really is. My note is actually delightfully wicked. That's my note on this.
Absolutely. Oh God, yeah, totally.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I love the callback to saving that doomed little doggy's life in the Heaven segment. That was excellent.
Yes.
Which is a dog show, right, from season 4.
Yes. It's a dog's life. Life.
That's it.
Yeah, there were a lot of neat little callbacks. Meanwhile, we learned that apparently Laverne's not a virgin anymore in this episode. Having given herself to Moose Crawford because she thought she was in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
in the back of his freaking truck. Which, Laverne.
God, Laverne, you just, I mean, A, she deserves better, and B, like, Moose Crawford? Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
Moose Crawford.
Yeah. I mean, she was, I guess what it is if she was in love, I would hope that he loved her enough to have, like, I don't know, put a mattress back there or something. Some blanket.
Or at least a blanket.
A blanket.
Jesus.
Some pillows. A canopy.
Yeah.
I mean, unless, the whole idea was,
anything.
I mean, unless, she wanted to look up at the stars, she's getting deflowered. But I mean, that's,
yeah.
And to each their own. But
if you're staring at the stars while that's happening, it's not a good sign.
Yeah, I know. There's many, I don't know. There's many. Yeah, there's a lot of things. Anyway, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going in circles on there. But
yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, we find that out. But the most interesting thing, though, about the theology in this episode is that it posits that the girls die, Carmine's already dead, and then Lenny and Squiggy die. Mm-hmm. What the heck would have happened to cause this like chain reaction death sequence other than the idea that they cannot live without each other, which is kind of sweet in a weird way.
It's possible. Okay, so here's my thinking. Carmine is horrendously murdered by one of the divorcees that he didn't realize was going to go full fatal attraction on him. Although not with a knife. I see him getting like blasted with a shotgun down the stairs. I apologize to Carmine fans, but these are the things that go through my mind when horrible deaths. But I'm getting to Liddy and Squeaky though. The girls died tragically young of a situation either involving one of their bizarre misadventures or food poisoning at the maybe from the vending machine at the brewery. The boys, hearing about this news, are distraught and they're sobbing in their truck on the next route that they do, and then die in a really horrific car crash, getting completely torn to pieces as they get ripped up across the highway. So, see, everybody dies horribly in the way that I do these things. Heaven and Hell episode, everybody.
Future Chris, insert the music from The Godfather. Everybody's getting garroted in the background of this.
Oh, God, I haven't written something that fucking cool in a long time, and I need to do that again.
I was actually thinking of the Pulp Cotter saying SNL.
Oh my God, yeah. So that's our second time referencing that this season so far. Oh
yes,
man.
Yes, it's so good.
It is.
It's such a good sketch. It's probably one of the best things Michael got to do on SNL, really, when he was a cast member.
I totally agree.
It's really fun. If you really, really, really sit there and think about it, it's kind of like, geez, it's kind of morbid. And then in Laverne's spooky hell dream, she envisions that because they take this money and they pass it around, they doom Carmine to hell because he spent the money on something filthy. They don't say what he spent the money on, but it was something dirty. I don't know what.
We're not, we're not saying it's hookers and blow, but it's hookers and blow.
It's bad enough that in her imagination, Carmine's dancing like a Chippendale dancer for all of eternity. Wow. And then because she gives Frank and Edna money for a new pizza oven, they get doomed to hell.
Yeah. Dirty money! Dirty money!
Aren't you glad your daughter died young? Is the basic theme here.
Oh my
God.
Yeah, rundown old buildings became slumlords who went straight to the big basement.
If you ever get hungry, good.
Oh, yeah, I miss Phil Foster this season so far. He feels like he's not been in it very much.
Yeah. To me, it's that they're underutilizing Betty Garrett. To me, that's my big problem.
Yeah.
That becomes especially true in like season 6. And, it's unfortunate, and she actually did complain about this, and that's why she took a stage role when she thought the show was going to be ending at the end of season 6, but we'll get there.
Okay.
We will get there. I just love that Laverne has this job as Heaven's bus driver, run around in heaven with her YMCA crew. But I love all these different visions they have of heaven and hell. Says so much about them and says so much about what they think of their well-found family and their friends and their own relationship. It really is neat.
It's I appreciate also, as we were saying, the writing of this episode feels very in character. There is definitely some goofiness that, you know, stretches the boundaries, but it's I think I adore it so much because of the fact it is absurd exaggerations of who these characters are. And you know, in these fantasy worlds, that is, and and even like the lingerie and the hubba hubba hiney are still like elements that feel like this is still part of the show. It's still part of where they're at, and it's also interesting historically speaking to think of how this is really once the whole TNA hour thing had really kind of hit its stride. And you know, because I mean, let's put it this way: my father had only moved to America like a year and a half before this season. And he already knew that this was the TNA hour of this and Three's Company and etc. Like he already like as soon as I mentioned, you know, the smuttiness of the show, like I said, like, yeah, this show's a lot smuttier than I realized it was going to be, you know, when we first started. And he said, oh no, that was totally what it was about. And
and okay, now let us consider the way the press treated Penny and Cindy. Let's consider the way they treated them in comparison to the girls on Charlie's Angels, because we have had a lot of retro articles being posted to Twitter. Thanks to Joy. Shout out to Joy again. And you could see the way that the press treated them because they were normal, average, everyday looking women instead of super glamorous models. And that's interesting that people were actually watching it for TNA because even Penny was like making fun of herself. Remember that blooper from, I think, the Mortician? Where she just pulls down her dress and goes, Charlie's Angels out. Makes fun of the whole situation. But that's interesting. I didn't know that.
But yeah, it is a thing. And that's kind of, this was one of the first times, or one of the only times, I should say, that this show really felt to me like, oh yeah, okay, that fits. Like this going as the sort of the kind of get your juices flowing startup before Three's Company. Because I think this went first, right? This was like an 8.
No, at the time, this was airing on its own night. It was airing on Thursdays. The Disaster Thursday move.
That's right. Okay. But I guess what I mean is...
This was a warm-up for Benson, of all things.
God. Yeah, as we discussed in the big season opener. Good grief. This... and then the interesting thing. So now they're actually leaning into it on the wrong time slot. Where people on their Thursdays, I don't know, they're doing their fucking laundry or something. And it's like you know, the men are going, it's like, I can't watch this TNA show while I'm doing laundry. I'm gonna pop a bona, and my boxes are in the wash. I don't know.
There is nothing sexy about Benson. Great show, beautifully written. I love Robert Guillaume. Nothing sexy about it. Nothing on that particular block was sexy. Barney Miller was not sexy. So. And once again, those shows did not fit together, themology-wise, audience-wise. You know, they appeal to totally different demographics. So I don't know how they came up with that lineup. Yeah, that's what was happening. I did not know that. I did not know that at all. It could have fooled me, man.
Yep. But yeah, that was part of the time. The other thing also in terms of initial thoughts, I want to make sure that I don't forget is the audience is really into this episode as well. And it's something I absolutely adore. It's something, it really boosts the joy of watching it, because if you're into it, I mean, there are some people who are not going to like this episode, but if you're into it, that audience is right there with you. And there's a certain like warm feeling validation in that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. They lost it when Laverne walked in that Glad to Be Bad 90, first of all.
Yes.
And they were loving the boys and all of the little antics of Dick Shawn. Who was amazing. Really amazing in this. So yeah, they were here. They were very, very here for that. They were very, very here for that episode. It's cute.
It's good stuff. Yeah.
It really is cute stuff.
So speaking of Dick Shawn, I guess we should probably jump into the guest star writer director details. Do you want to? Okay, we're gonna build it. We'll get back to Dick in a second. Don't take that out of context. Anyway, so this episode, Al Eidikman was the writer of Mr. of Dinner for Four and Who's Papa. So he did some really strong stuff for season 3. Actually, sorry, Dinner for Four is season 4. I'm trying to remember now.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and
this is season 4.
Yeah. So after this, he has got 7 more episodes after this, including The Dating Game and The Beatnik Show, which I guess apparently if he did The Beatnik Show, if you wrote for Laverne Shirley, maybe you were a beatnik. But anyway, the main thing that's noteworthy for him is he became an executive scripts consultant starting in season 7 and then continued to the end of the series with much of his time spent in the season 8 writer's room. So I don't know, I guess he must have... he must have not have returned a check to the phone company for $56. Al Eidikman would also go on to write for Different Strokes and do 7 episodes of Married with Children. Although, in looking him up, this also made me realize that the show You Again is a thing, and I am desperately trying to imagine Jack Klugman and John Stamos in the same screen together. Oof.
I vaguely remember that show, but I never ever. I don't have any concrete memories at all.
Man,
don't have any concrete memories, but I vaguely remember this existence.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
For director Joel Zwick, I'm actually going to be sort of eking this out a little slowly, and we'll be saving more notes for next week. But there's thankfully there's quite a bit of a treasure trove of different interviews with Joel Zwick over the years, especially about talking about his theater directing and things of that nature. We'll have some more to cover about that in the not too distant future. I mean, I will say, Joel was really one of the stronger directors for Laverne and Shirley, at least in terms of consistency. So it's good that he was involved here. Now, my notes seem maybe a little bit rushed for writer-director, because we got to talk about Dick Shawn today.
Yes.
Oh my God, this guy. He was born in the 20s, so this dude was an old dude. This guy had seen a lot, and he was the kind of boundary-pushing stand-up comedian that he would even open up shows buried under bricks piled on stage, revealing to the audience that he had been there the entire time that they were waiting for the show to begin. Like the lights would go down, the spotlight would come on, and he'd just climb out of the bricks.
That's fun.
So when I watched the episode with my mom, she commented on him and then actually ended up doing a kind of a deep dive researching into him because she had realized she'd seen him on and off on television shows throughout most of her childhood and adolescence. And she was the one, I got to credit to Super Awesome Mama, my mother, for the research that helped here. Now, most famously for folks today, it took me a second to figure out that this, and it finally clicked, is this was the director, the one and only LSD, Lorenzo Saint Dubois, in The Producers. And that's how a lot of us millennials remember him. And meaning he's the director / the guy playing Hitler in Springtime for Hitler. He also was one of the many scrappy racers in It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. He was a soldier in What Did You Do in the War, Daddy, which I mentioned that only just because I cannot believe that William Peter Blatty wrote the script for a Blake Edwards comedy in the 60s. And
yes, he did. Yes, he did.
My head explodes at that. And Dick Shawn also stood in for Johnny Carson the night the last cigarette commercial played in 1971, which is a kind of cool thing. Okay. This is the kicker about Dick Shawn, and we apologize. This is an explicit episode. This is going a little bawdy and the like, and now we have to get things a little morbid here. Because the thing to mention most of all about Dick Shawn is his final performance. In 1987, he was doing a live performance at the Mandeville Center Stage when, in the middle of a very macabre bit of humor about a nuclear holocaust, he suddenly collapsed. The audience thought it was part of the act until a few minutes later, they called in some people to try to resuscitate him. He died of a heart attack mid-show.
Oh my gosh! I did not know that. Oh my goodness.
So
that's awful. Yeah, poor guy.
I know. So, but when you hear the stories of this dude and the legend of him, I mean, he was buddies with like Lenny Bruce. He would do the roasts, the X-rated roast. Like he famously, I guess, a few months before he passed away, they did an X-rated roast of Tommy Chong when, after all his body, incredibly off-color, incredibly grotesque comedy, he comes up and he vomits on himself. Like, for real.
God.
and it's one of those, you're not entirely sure if it was a bit. I mean, people thought that this guy, well, I suspect that this guy was a huge inspiration to Andy Kaufman. So
I wouldn't be shocked because
anyway,
yeah, you can see it.
So you
can see it.
So fans of Dick Shawn, obviously, will. This is all. Nothing of this is new. I mean, this dude is kind of legendary, and we just I just want to simply say, for an outrageous comedian and for someone who played both an angel and a devil, it's really kind of hard to think of a more fitting way to go out. So rest in peace, Dick. Yeah. We loved your performance, and we hope that you're getting a big laugh at all our discomfort and expense.
Rest in peace, my dude. Man, that's a well-lived life. That is a well-lived life.
So yeah, that is why I was a little distracted on getting the notes for the writer-director stuff this week.
Yeah, I understand. I'm like, because that's cool. That's cool. Kind of horrifying and cool, but at the same time. But hey, still neat. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the hello gags.
Yes.
This time.
Yes.
That was fun.
Yes.
That's fun. Multiple. The two.
Oh, God, they are. You know when it's a heaven and hell dream scene episode, the hello gags are going to be gold. And
yes.
The setup of, think about it, Laverne, we get to spend eternity with the good and the pure. What else? And
ow.
And I love the crowd goes nuts at that one too.
Yep. As they should. And then the very tentative, awful way the boys enter heaven. And then the second the alarm goes off, they immediately assume the position. They pat it down. I'm like, what the heck's going on with two of you?
They've been in places I mean, this probably happened like when they tried to sneak into the girls' locker room in high school.
Or when they went to the ladies' prison, as they do.
Oh, that's true. Times. Yeah. That's God. Wow, I haven't thought of that one in a while. Visit. Yeah, the conjugal.
Oh, you'll think of it again by season 8. That's all I gotta say.
Why am I not surprised?
Oh, just wait for it.
I will set up my little tent and I will just camp out right here. It's a legitimate strategy.
Since we're talking about like differences in the heaven and the hell dream, the boys are very much more quiet and odd in heaven and in hell. They're just going for it. David's acting style in this particular bit of the show is very Shakespearean. Michael's going way over the top and living and loving every second of it and just like rolling in his character's evilness. And David's going more Shakespearean. This is the hell that you are in. You will have to keep putting hair on the pizza. He's just like going for it. I really enjoyed that. I want to make note of that.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that, but that's true. I mean, it's what I love about, good Shakeup episodes like this, when the actors get to be much more playful, where they're taking both their techniques and their characters to these elements and extremes. Because if you play the character the same way every time, and there's sort of like, okay, here's our hello gag for the week, here's our joke for the week, blah blah blah. Here's my 2 scenes, because I mean, think about how like, Phil and Betty have basically been getting like maybe 1 to 3 scenes an episode for like, actually 1 to 2 episodes for the better part of like the last 2 or 3 seasons. And so when you get the chance to play, it's really exciting. And here they really use it to the fullest.
They do. They are enjoying it. They are having a heck of a time because heck, they can do something out of the ordinary instead of just like giving advice or yelling or Frank haranguing Laverne because once again she has not found a husband.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very nice.
I forgot about that. Oh God.
You gotta get married to an Italian guy, Laverne. Do it now.
Oh man.
Oh, Frank. Yep.
Do you wonder if maybe this is some weird distant thing in Frank's own mind, and that he's actually bi, and that he needed to marry a sweet Italian man himself, and that was his dream. Laverne, live my dream. The society doesn't understand it, but you can do it. You can do it for me, Laverne. You can do it, and you can. I can live through you, and you can have a gorgeous man call you baby. That's all I ever wanted in my life.
Oh Lord, I was going to mention that since we're getting closer to pros and cons for the episode, I wanted to mention how good the directing is really good in this particular episode. I don't know if it's just me, but I love how they stage the difference between heaven and hell. I love how they lit it. I love how they managed to use that limited space and make it look endless.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I definitely agree. There's a sense of the scope to it. This very much feels like a showcase episode that I think they knew they were going to do for a while, and so they put a little more time and money into it because it feels like, I was saying, like with the directing is stronger. Like it feels. And it could just be, it can just be there's synergistic things that happen because, my understanding from what Rafkin and Zwick, sort of have said is when they finally came to like producing these episodes, they, the pre-production for these episodes be happening over weeks and weeks and weeks. But the actual rehearsal of the scripts and the shoots were usually in just like about 5 or 6 days. And, that's pretty tight. So it could just be, everything came together, or it could be that this is something they've been sort of workshopping over time. I mean, I even wonder if like, just other rehearsals, like a way to warm up would be like, okay, let's let David get a little more Shakespeare. Let's let Michael off the leash a little bit. Let's let, Penny and Cindy, get to banter a little more. And because that's even like, notice the what's become that recurring thing is the way they sort of like do the cat yowl at each other now. The two girls they fight, and this is a great example of it in the hell segment.
Yeah. I love it when they just go at each other, the little devil horns, just trying to two very short bulls locking horns.
Yeah, or two goats was what I was thinking. Yeah,
goats. Yes, it's very goat-like. Perfect. I
mean, it's fitting that the goats are fighting like goats. That's
that's there you go.
For people not knowing the today's millennial, those gosh darn kid nomenclatures. It is the goat can sometimes stand for the greatest of all time.
Yeah, true. Yes. As the children say, you are the goat. They do not mean you are a little goat. You are awesome. You are the prime.
Goats are also pretty cool, though. I've known a couple of.
Yes, they are. Yeah. Yes, they are. That reminds me. I guess send you a link to some cute goats eventually. But yes. Anyway, okay. Now let's talk pros and cons. Let's talk. What didn't we like about this episode? I'm trying.
That's a good question. The way the tag scene, changes the ending. I feel like if you need to kind of commit to the ending one way or the other.
Yeah.
Because here's my point is because at the end of, if I recall, at the end of the episode, it ends with, good Lord, I wish I had the episode queued up right now. I'd have to go dig up my disc.
I know how it ends, so you can just go.
Is it then that he does the evil maniacal laugh at the end of the episode and not during the tag scene, or is it vice versa?
I think it's in the tag scene. It's in the tag scene because that's when we find out that it turns out they owe the phone company $50 because Shirley keeps calling her mom.
Right.
And Shirley did this long phone call with Barb that lasted for an incredibly long amount of time because it was her birthday.
Right. Yeah, she wanted to feel like she was at the party, so she stayed on the line for 4 hours, I think she said, or 4.5 hours.
Yep. Which is amazing, seeing how high on her horse she was the whole episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really her fault, the whole thing.
And it's, and that's kind of something that for me, I felt was a bit of a weakness just because of the fact that I like a situation like that kind of ending neutrally, because if at some point the blame doesn't get ascribed to somebody, it creates that falsified feeling that there's always a good guy and a bad guy. And because of the fact that the whole phone company thing is a very real situation, it felt a little, we're going to mock the person who was wrong feeling for me.
Yeah, in a way. I just generally didn't enjoy the tag scene because really, in the end, it should have been proven that either they didn't want the money back. It would have been hilarious if the phone company kept trying to shove the money back at them, saying, no, we can't legally take this back. You have to keep it. They go, no, we don't want it. We don't want it. We'll go to hell. No. That would have been funnier than turning out that they owe the money. That's just me.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, they tear up the check or something, and or they tear it up in the envelope, and his Dick Shawn's eyes get big, and it's like you're what is it, dealing with the mail or whatever, I mean, there are other ways it could have been done. It is, admittedly, it's a very
deal with the devil.
Exactly, and there is a very relatable element to the conclusion, but exactly, there's other ways it could have gone. It doesn't ruin the episode. It just, I felt like it's something that like. Because I do like those sort of like, it was all a dream, or was it? Like that. That those are great. I love those types of endings. Devil's Advocate. To bring up another film that deals with devils. Vanity, always my favorite sin. I can do a better Pacino than that.
Trying to kill me.
I don't know if there's that much I really dislike about it. I guess I felt sorry for Cheryl, that she feels insecure about her hiney. Her hiney's cute. It's a cute little kissable hiney.
I just think it's funny that that the girls once again are wearing lingerie for each other. And this is why the show had a huge gay following. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah.
They are basically dressing up for each other because neither one of them have boyfriends that they're going to show off lingerie to, unless Laverne's going to cram that under her coat to go see Moose Crawford. I guess not anymore because she thought she was in love and she ain't in love no more. So to speak. So
that's a good point. I didn't think of it that way, but I'm terrible at those aspects of psychology.
Yeah. I found it incredibly queer and incredibly amazing at the same time. Let's face it, queerness and awesomeness always interconnected. Always interconnected.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
That is incredibly true.
Yeah.
As a fan of a lot of many macho films that definitely have the overtones, I can agree. I could definitely agree with that.
See Tango and Cash.
Oh God, yes.
God, man, so gay.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they know it's gay.
I think Kurt's smart enough to have figured that out.
Yeah.
I think
you know.
I think Kurt knew when he did that scene. Yeah, but
yeah.
Oh God, I wish Jack Palance had been on Laverne Shirley. That would have been quite interesting. God. I don't know if we would believe it or not.
That would have been adorable. He would have been a great boss figure for them. That would have been great.
Oh God, he would have been the guy who buys shots.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Things are going to be different around here.
Yeah. Yeah. He looks at the place, and he goes, I puke bigger than this brewery.
I can totally picture this now. Oh my goodness.
Anyway, back on track. Yeah, the strengths and weaknesses. I mean, it's I did want a little more in the heaven segment in terms of things working out for it. Like, I really liked Carmine in this episode. Yes, I know. But I would have liked there have been I just felt like because the hell sequence has great details of just how poorly things are going. And it would have been nice to have had a little more of things going well in heaven, to the point, because to me, that's a great ludicrous joke. Like, one of my favorite bits in Disenchantment. You've seen all 3 seasons of Disenchantment, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
Good. I just want to make sure. But in season 2 with Elfo, and he's trying to offend God, and God is just like, oh, you're so wonderful. You're so precious, Elfo. That to me is hilarious. Where the lack of conflict is the joke, and that's
yes.
I feel like this show and these characters could have done some wonderful stuff with that, and would have been absolutely adorable.
Yeah, like Shirley's dream turns into a nightmare. It turns out heaven isn't so heavenly when she has to be perfect all the time. By the way, while we're talking about this, Cindy's line delivery on the line, I have the irresistible urge to beat up a puppy. It's so great.
Oh my God, yes. Oh yes.
It was fabulous. I had to bring that up for.
Mm-hmm. Pros, cons, strengths, weaknesses. Are we going to talk about the squirt gun filled with milk and Pepsi?
I love it. Of course, that's how they defend themselves.
Yes. And my favorite bit, the punchline of that is, want a sip? Just a sip. And then squirt. I love it.
It shows you how the two of them have grown into their roommatehood, so to speak, where they just all the stuff just rolls off each other's backs at this point.
Mm-hmm. It also,
it's adorable.
I think it also speaks to how they've been in some really bad scrapes where they thought they would lose each other, and they realize how valuable they are to each other as well. I think is part of it.
Yes. We're gonna have some amazing examples of that deeper in the season.
Nice.
I can't wait to get there. That's gonna be some good stuff.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to go back through my notes. I mean, there's your husband, the doctor. I'm Shirley, your wife, the homemaker.
Oh, Cheryl, honey. My favorite note that I have not spoken aloud yet. I love Lenny's tie, also his booty. So when he faces the elevator, that's all. But anyway,
for this episode, that is perfect. It's all of that.
Yes, he doesn't need a hub, honey. Anyway.
So you're saying I have competition there in the butt department?
Wow. No. I kid.
I mean, I know that okay. Actually, no. I was just about to say something incredibly self-deprecating. And down on myself, and I should not do that.
Yes, while you're beautiful. Shh.
Okay, good. Yeah. This is advice for all you people out there who have insecurity issues. Don't do that when your significant other's on the podcast you're recording with you at the exact time, or else you're gonna things might not go so well for the rest of the recording. Anyway,
no, I'm not gonna let you be down on yourself. So there.
Yep. I'm also gonna quickly check and see if my mom had any notes, because I'm taking mom notes now. If anyone didn't notice,
I love that. I love it.
Oh yeah. Early on, when they're getting the packages, and Laverne points to Shirley and goes, "You know what you are," and my mom just blurted out of nowhere, "An ass." And
precious.
I lost it when she did that. That was fantastic. And as well, the one last thing. Okay, two things actually in notes, which are part of the opening scene. I love that orange dreamsicle dress that's also in the opening is used here, that Laverne's wearing when she comes home with the packages.
Yes.
Adore it.
Yes.
And speaking of yes, I love the orgasmic moans when they open the package. That was deliciously bawdy. And that is one of those that, like, back in the day when like people would like do sound edits of things, to make it sound like, like fan edits of things I could see someone editing the moans and groans and these noises of different episodes of the show to make like it's an audio, a fan audio of, Laverne orgasming for, 2.5 minutes.
Oh God. Oh my.
Yeah. There was a famous Resident Evil one that took the sound effects from the first game and created an orgy between all the characters, which was pretty impressive.
I've actually heard of those. I know that those exist.
Yeah, the
Not
Resident
but I know they generally exist. Yep. All you out there who are complaining about us talking about this, you voted for the porn movie. You don't get to complain.
Which, okay, that's another thing. Speaking of our fanfics, I know we have Carmine fans that I need to be nicer to. Carmine was looking good in this episode. There's most people, to be honest, in my personal opinion, can't rock the Chippendale outfit. He does. Yeah. Eddie wears it really well. It looks really good on him.
He's got a great body.
Yeah.
At this point in time, he has a fabulous body. His body and Penny's body are the best things about season 8. Is all I can say. Really, the best things about season 8.
I don't know. I think Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I guess what I was gonna say is that Carmine looks like a fighting game character in that outfit. It looks like an SNK fighting game character in that outfit.
Yes, he does. Oh Lord, I didn't notice it before, but yeah, he really does.
Yeah, he reminded me especially with the vest of King, the lady bouncer character in Art of Fighting.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. That's fun.
So I think that's one reason that it appealed to me. It's like, oh yeah, it's badass, it's handsome, and it looks like a fighting game character.
Definitely. He has a lot of great lines about the nickname Angel Face. Oh, having it picked up downstairs, which is cute.
Yes. The other angels give him a look.
Yeah, and then when he's in hell, and it's like, sorry, force of habit. Both of those are cute.
Exactly.
Both of those are cute. And the girls up in heaven watching people breaking into their apartment and stealing their stuff. Which is like weirdly dark and morbid. Yes.
So maybe that's what happened. Assault on Precinct 13 finally takes place at some point in the early to mid 60s, and therefore Street Thunder, kills the girls and then steals all their shit.
Possibly. Jesus. Possibly. Oh man.
I mean, hey, that's still not the deepest cut I could make. My notes actually mentioned when they go to hell. My comment was, oh, now they're in a Kenneth Anger movie. So.
Oh no! It is a Kenneth Anger movie. Oh no!
And if you'd like to know more, then you folks can go out there and attempt to track down Scorpio Rising.
Kenneth Anger, great filmmaker, bad at gossip. Because Jesus,
God, yes.
As successful as Hollywood Babylon was, 90% of everything in that book is bullshit.
Oh, wow.
Like, heavy bullshit. Like, no, Lupe Velez did not drown in her toilet. That did not actually happen. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there that's incorrect and actually deformous in a way.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, wasn't the person who did the Scorpio Rising soundtrack convicted of murder at some point?
I think so.
Yeah, because I think so. Yeah, was it Bobby Beausoleil or something like that? It was. I think so. Yeah. Yeah, this is a weird crowd.
Can't remember offhand, but I think so.
Yeah. Again, you see where our brains are at when it comes to this episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, which is the other interesting thing, I guess, talking about strengths and weaknesses. I do find it a strength, as we were saying earlier. Yeah, I guess to come back to that theme before, they're playing with this sort of very not abstract, but very cartoonish version of heaven and hell, and dealing with theology in this universe. And there's something kind of, delightfully goofy about it. And I almost wonder if it could be called a weakness that, as far as I've heard, this doesn't really get revisited.
Nope. This is a one-off dream. It never is referred to again.
Man.
Yeah. It affects nothing. It just happens once. Which is interesting, considering the show's eventual peaks into various forms of theological thought. We'll get there. Unfortunately, we'll get there.
Oh no! They're gonna make her a. Well, I guess this show is getting into the 80s and the rise of the religious right, so I guess that makes.
Wait till we get there. Is all I can say is wait till we get there. But that doesn't really happen. That doesn't happen. It's the religious right. Wait till we get there.
Right.
Wait till we get there.
God, I grumble like this, and now I'm really starting to sound like a Portlander. Anyway, is there anything else in terms of pros, cons, what we liked, what we didn't about this episode?
No. I'm going to mention something in our rankings. I was going to mention two things, but otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much everything I loved and hated about this episode. I pretty much loved everything. So
yeah, that sounds about right to me as well. So okay, cool. So what are we rocking with the ranking? Do you have a number in mind?
This is around a solid 8.5 for me, right? Very close to a 9. I'm gonna go for it and rank this as a 9. This is probably top 3 for me in the season. It's a lot of fun. The way they managed to balance the heaven and hell stuff is fun. It's wonderfully ridiculous. Dick Shawn just knocks it out of the park. The girls knock it out of the park. Everything with Lonnie and Squiggy is funny. Everything with Carmine is funny. And the way they managed to portray everything, and the ultimate lesson being that to do what is right is a good idea, even if people screw you over, is a nice message. So it's a 9 for me.
Yeah, I would have to say the same. I was already very solidly on a 9, and the whole point down is more of just the little things, I think, more than anything, and more that it is a bit on the episodic side, and it's a bummer this doesn't get to like have references that come back, later, and to have any sort of sense of either understand the theology or understanding theology in that universe, or to, just something they could call back to. Like, something about like mentioning it's like, oh, did we get another check for the phone company, or something of that nature, or Shirley on the phone with her mom, and and Laverne says, what happened to us last time, just anything of that nature or whatever. But does even the Hubba Hubba Heiny at least come back at some point?
No, it does not actually. The Hubba Hubba Heiny does not come back, sadly.
Yep. All right. That's
not referenced to
that. There goes the point. Sorry, but I will give 2 points back for the Scanty Panties and the Manos Hands of Fate lingerie top.
I'm pretty sure that the nightie does come back in some form, but I can't remember.
Fuck yes.
I'm not entirely sure how it comes back. I have to think about that one.
I mean, hey, on the bright side, if she ever does wear that for a guy, he'll know where it'll, it doesn't matter how stupid he is, he'll have a guideline of where to put his hands.
Insert Lenny joke here. Anyway. Oh, goodness. Yes. Yeah.
Cool. All right. I guess if that is all, then we would like to thank you all so much for joining us this week for Night After Night. And if you would like to know more, please join us on Twitter at NightAfterNightPC or Night After Night Pod on Facebook, Tumblr, WordPress, Patreon, YouTube, and I don't know. Well, who knows? I mean, we're recording this episode at the end of April of 2021. This episode is going to go up, I think, in the final week of January, if not maybe like the first week of February 2022. So you out there in the future will know what, if any of this is possibly true, and whether we were smart enough to edit anything out and do loops. Anywho, so next week, I'm having this problem lately with drunken naval folk in my apartment.
Oh dear.
Lisa, what do you do with a drunken sailor?
We do a very special episode with him, apparently. This is one of the show's rare, very special episodes, in which we deal with Bobby Feeney returning to the scene, and he's developed an alcoholism problem. And Shirley doesn't know how to deal with it, her friends help her, and it's called What Do You Do with a Drunken Sailor?
Well, I'm definitely going to hell for being so flippant about the possibility of what that episode could be about. Oh, God. Oh, God in heaven. Oh, yep. Coo.
BSC, it'll get you every time.
Yeah.
Special episode, right out of the blue.
Goodness gracious. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody. Hope you'll join us again for next week. And until next time, I don't know, wacko.
Wacka. Also, yes way Jose to this episode. Yes way Jose. Bye, y'all.